Joining me to discuss this and give further analysis, former Georgia Congressman and host of the Doug Collins podcast, live weekdays from 3 to 4 p.m. on the Salem Podcast Network. Doug Collins, Congressman, it's always great to see you. It's day 2 of Ketanji Brown Jackson's Supreme Court confirmation. What are your impressions?
Hey, Chris, good to see you again as well. My impressions of this is, there's always evasion and sort of sidestepping of answers and questions in these kind of hearings. But we're going beyond that. I mean, this is beyond what we have seen in just not even answering direct questions about her own judgment. This is the first time, if you realize, we've had a federal district court judge and then also an appellate judge that we can actually look at what she decided and how she decided it. And when asked about specific cases, as you just showed just a few moments ago, she went into this long rambling thing. Well, these are hard to deal with, and I had to read stuff. Well, that's what you do as a judge. The question is not what you had to do. The question is, what did you decide? And I think that reveals the character of this nomination.
Meantime, Biden's border czar, Kamala Harris, just in Europe, where she almost triggered World War III with a tweet calling Ukraine a NATO country. So Joe Biden is benching the border czar and is himself heading to Europe to pretend he's a leader. I don't have high hopes. What about you, Congressman?
Well, I'm not sure, but she does understand the importance passing of time. So at least maybe we can figure that out as she goes along. But, again, this is what's really concerning about this administration. Neither number one nor number two is competent on a world stage to get in front of a podium and speak. This is becoming a problem. And sending Joe Biden, at least we're sending the number one over, the president's going over. I'm hopeful that at this point in time that we'll start showing leadership to bring an end to this Ukrainian war and Putin's war to be stopped. But I'm not real certain if that's actually going to happen. I think they knew that they had to send him because of the disaster from last week with Harris, but also just the general lack of American leadership. Americans ought to be very concerned, though. We're having a lot of more voices around the world pushing for us to have direct intervention there, and that's not what we need to do. We need to have a leader who's willing to bring the sides together and say, look, this has got to stop and got to stop now, because we're just not seeing leadership from this administration.
Now, this is something that was going on when you were in Congress. The New York Times and other left-wing media organizations are showing they either suck at their jobs or are 100% unreliable as news sources after the Times admitted the Hunter Biden laptop story was very real. There's a group called NewsGuard, Congressman. It's an organization that claims to oppose the refusal to correct major errors in news stories and commentary. It just so happens that a Bushy former general and CIA director, Michael Hayden, sits on NewsGuard's board. He has yet to retract and apologize for his Russian disinformation claim about the Hunter Biden laptop. But it's not just Hayden. 18 other so-called intelligence officials made the same false claim. Can we now say that those who spread these unsubstantiated fake news claims should never be trusted again to weigh in on American public policy?
I think they should. In fact, I believe your analysis of the two choices are both. They're both shown themselves to be incompetent. And number one, they have an agenda that really would never be tolerated anywhere else. This is what's disturbing to me. As someone who's lived through that, who kept saying, look, the laptop is real. We kept saying there's a connection with Ukraine. We kept saying that Biden had these issues. We kept saying that the Russian fake disinformation campaign was false. The dossier, the impeachment, the sham impeachment. We were the ones to be made fun of. But I'll tell you right now, we were right. And what's happening now is what should be more disturbing than anything is the New York Times is now saying that, yeah, it's real, but they're doing it about 18 months too late because they took information that they held and they held it for a political purpose, for a political reason, to gain a political outcome. My question is that not an in-kind gift to the Democratic Party or Joe Biden's presidential campaign? Nobody's asking that question.
Oh, that's a hell of a good question. I would say so. Look, really quickly, give me a short answer if you can. As you know, Joe Biden had this conference call with Xi Jinping. And according to Biden, it all went very well. But according to the Chi-Coms and nobody, they're very tight-lipped about what actually happened here. My sense is that Joe Biden gave away the store again to another enemy of the United States. What's your sense?
Yeah, it would be a lot more. I think it'd be a lot different if they'd have came out strong and done something. I think Biden just reiterated talking points. China basically played him, played off of it, and said, "We're going to do whatever we want to do." And by the way, quit bothering us.
All right, Congressman Doug Collins, sir, appreciate the time here on the Chris Salcedo Show.